Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's lesson. Today's lesson is going to be on finding and writing fractions along a number line. Again, hopefully something that'll go pretty quick, and if not, this will be a nice tutorial to kind of help guide you. Now, a number line is simply just a line with numbers placed upon it. Here, I'll do my best drawing. And when we're talking with fractions, it's really critical and important to look at two pieces. The beginning and the end, because they will dictate or tell you what you need to do. Haha, look at that. Oftentimes, especially as we're first starting, a lot of these number lines will begin with the digit 0, and as we're beginning, we're going to have 1. So a number line may look like that. You may also see and have experienced number lines that have a whole slew of numbers on them, such as 0, 1, 2, I can type 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And then each line has a slot for 0, 1. It's kind of like a graph. Well, we're going to ignore that. We won't be getting that complicated, but that is a number line. Our number lines, for the most part, will start with 0 and with 1, and we're going to use them to help us learn a little bit more about fractions. So, if I have a number line between 0 and 1, and I have one spot here, and I need to think about it. If you think of it as a candy bar, how many pieces has this candy bar been cut into? And the answer to that, of course, is, well, here's one chunk, and here's a second chunk. Go Packers. And it's divided here in the middle, so this would be one piece, which of course would be my numerator, out of how many pieces? 1, 2. That would be my denominator. So this would be 1/2. Of course, this would be 1, which is equivalent to 2 halves. That's kind of what we're doing today. The big mistake that fourth graders will often make is they'll see this and be like, oh, it's just one piece. But it's really 1, 2 pieces. So let's practice with a couple different things. I'll create another quick line. Again, I'm going to have 0 over here and 1 over here, maybe. And if I have my little divider lines, 0, 1. Now I know that these aren't perfect, but let's take a look at this. So how would I divide this up into fractions? Again, it's between 0 and 1, so I have to count the pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. 4 pieces total, which tells me my denominator should be fourths. And my numerator will be how many chunks I have. So here's one chunk, so that's 1/4. Here's a second chunk, so that would be 2/4. Here's another chunk of the bar, which is 3/4. And of course, the whole bar would be 1 whole, or it would be 4/4. I think that's the common mistake kids will make. Whoops. Is they will often see 3 lines, and they'll often go, okay, well, that's 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. Oh, that looked weird. But of course, that can't be, because this is just one piece, 2 pieces, 3 pieces. I still got some candy bar left here. So you got to start from here and jump. 1, 2, 3, 4. Count the jumps. That's my advice. Let's do one more quick. Actually, 2 more. Again, I'm going to take a look at the first digit, which is 0, and I'm going to take a look at where the line ends over here. I'm going to keep it with 1, and I'm going to put in there and there. I'm going to put my pieces like so. Now again, the trap is to go 1, 2, 3, 4, so my denominator has to be 4, right? Wrong, because I have one piece. I've divided it into two pieces, three pieces. They're supposed to be equal. Four pieces, and of course, five pieces, which tells me no, my denominator has to be one whole would be 5/5. So I can count this as 1/5, 2/5, 3/5. Anybody have a guess what this one over here should be? Right, 4/5. Okay, here's my last one. And this is where it gets kind of fun and why we have to pay attention to those first and last digits. If most of these are going to start with 0, but what happens if my number line changes over here and say it starts with 2 or ends with 2? Okay, and then it's asking me to figure these out. That changes the game. If I started at 0 and ended at 2, what number is between 0 and 2? That's right, the answer is 1. Now where would 1 go on this number line? Would it go here? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it wouldn't. You'd have to go, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 spots, so I'm going to go to the middle. It's half of 4, 2. So 1, 2, that's where 1 is. Now, how does that work with fractions? Well, one whole has been cut into how many pieces? 1, 2. So this should be 1/2, 1 or 2 halves. And this you could either write as 1 and 1/2, or you could write it as 3 halves. And 2 is either 2 or it would be 4 halves. Don't let this stuff here confuse you too much, but I hope you can see a half and 1, a half and 2. And I hope that makes sense. Good luck, 4th grade.